Meet the Jacksons. They love living in Victoria, but their growing family can no longer afford a home here. So they're moving farther away, and they're not alone. Census data tells us Victoria is continuing to lose young families as their housing needs evolve. This is a key reason Victoria's Missing Middle Housing Initiative is aiming to make it easier to build alternatives to the single-family house. This includes townhouses, duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. These housing types help give families like the Jacksons a choice to stay in Victoria as their needs change. And it's not just young families who benefit. There are many others looking for housing options in between single-family homes, which cost just over $1 million on average in Victoria, and apartments or condos, which often lack outdoor space. We are all familiar with homes like these, but they've come to be known as missing middle housing because they're rarely built these days. Apartments, condos, and detached houses account for almost all of the new homes created because most of the city, outside of the downtown core, is zoned for single-family homes. As a result, would-be builders of missing middle housing need to apply to council to change their zoning, which can be a long and complex process. This helps explain why Victoria sees many older homes replaced by new, more expensive single-family homes, far more often than missing middle housing is created. Creating space for more missing middle homes means more housing choices. That makes it easier for people to stay in the city, and that helps people live closer to where they work and shop, supporting the local economy and sustainability. These are some of the reasons Council is considering changing zoning in the city's traditional residential areas to allow missing middle homes in addition to single-family homes. This zoning could allow houseplexes, such as duplexes, triplexes, or fourplexes on standard-sized lots, and townhouses on the corners of blocks. This new housing would need to follow a set of design guidelines that ensure the new housing fits well in the neighborhood. These emerging concepts for missing middle zoning have been informed by early community input, and now we want your feedback to help navigate some important choices and trade-offs. On each residential lot in the city, there's limited space for housing, off-street parking, trees, and green space. The current zoning regulation requires at least one off-street parking space per new home, although exceptions apply for rental and affordable units. For example, the average single-family detached home has a backyard space and a parking space, but only accommodates one home, with or without a suite. If the owner were to redevelop that lot to accommodate a fourplex, the current parking requirements for at least 4 paved parking stalls would mean most of the usable outdoor space and some trees would have to go. That's not good for neighborhood livability or the environment. Something has to give. Missing middle zoning could require a tree planting space and setbacks that support green, usable backyards, if it required less off-street parking. This would help grow the urban forest and increase housing supply. This trade-off would mean a fourplex could have 2 off-street parking spaces and lots of usable backyard space. Although more people in Victoria already walk or bike to work than any other mid-sized city in Canada, we need to do even more to make it easy and affordable to get around without having to own a car. This is why we're considering requiring missing middle homes to come with features such as more bike parking, car share memberships, or transit passes, instead of off-street parking for every home. The city's long-term mobility strategy called Go Victoria will guide how we better manage parking demand and give more people more options to move around in our community. Through Go Victoria, we'll continue to explore new solutions that prioritize space for car and bike sharing options, transit, and active transportation. This could include tools like permits in high-demand locations. As more people find housing in Victoria, local businesses can expand to meet daily needs in each neighborhood, and transportation alternatives can become more convenient. Another important consideration as we explore how missing middle zoning can help increase housing choice and availability relates to heritage conservation. While new missing middle housing will often replace an older single-family house, Missing middle zoning will incentivize the protection of buildings with heritage merit by allowing new housing to be built in the backyard if the owner agrees to protect the building through heritage designation. The heritage building could also be converted into multiple homes, already permitted under the recently updated house conversion regulations. Missing middle zoning also offers some exciting opportunities to encourage accessible housing options. Barriers to accessibility are common in the housing that currently exists in the city's traditional residential areas. For instance, housing that has a semi-submerged basement means steps are needed to access the front door. Allowing 3-story townhouses under missing middle zoning opens the possibility to require new townhouses to include at least one adaptable unit, because the first floor can be built at grade. An adaptable home has many accessibility features designed in so that full accessibility can be achieved with minimal modifications if and when an occupant needs them. To further improve accessibility, new missing middle zoning could require an accessible parking space with all new developments. Many accessibility features make housing work better for everyone. For example, the new zoning could create an incentive to design extra storage space near the front door to accommodate mobility devices. This space could be just as useful for families who need a quick and easy space to store strollers or car seats when they get home. These are just some of the considerations we'd like your feedback on. Thank you for taking the time to learn about the missing middle and to consider how it can help families like the Jacksons and others in our community as they search for a home that fits their needs. Learn more and share your feedback at engage.victoria.ca.